Okay, good evening everyone. I am Sloaters. I'm going to be doing a little bit of Super Metroid. We're going to be doing a special category here called low percent ice. So let's just get right into it. So in Super Metroid, for the no major glitch categories, there's a number of ways to do low percent, which is 14% item collection. This particular variation I'm doing, low percent ice, is probably the most common one. Among the items we're going to get various suit, gravity suit, morph ball, morph bombs, charge beam, and the ice beam, hence low percent ice, as well as the required energy and ammo to complete the game, which is 3 energy tanks, 2 missile packs, 2 super packs, and 1 power bomb pack. So if you're familiar with any of the other Super Metroid categories, this is pretty standard opening. Doesn't really change much until we get 7 or 8 minutes in. So for now, I just damage myself down on Ridley so I can trigger this escape sequence as fast as possible. And hopefully I get off the ship before it explodes. $45.38. Not a bad time to get off Old Sirius Station. So the boss order for this route it can be the same as the any percent route. In any percent, you go up and do Phantoon first, then you go down to Ridley and sort of clear from the bottom up, taking care of Kraid and Draygon on the way up. In low percent, though, I believe the current world record, and a lot of runners do this too, is they'll actually do Kraid before Ridley. There's a few good reasons to do that for safety, as well as just the kind of strat you can pull off if you do that, so I'll talk about that a little more as we get there. But like I said, for the next 5 minutes or so, it's going to look pretty much like any other Super Metroid run you've seen. And if anyone is familiar with the game and knows about moonwalk and moonfalling, I do not use moonwalk in my run, so you won't see any moonfalls. The trick saves in this category probably about, I don't know, 7 to 10 seconds or something like that. But moonwalk really changes the way your movement works when you're trying to do charge shots, and in this category you have really long boss fights where you're holding charge shots for most of the fight. So I'm not really used to having moonwalk on, so if I were to turn it on, I'd probably die and make a lot of mistakes in those boss fights, so that's why I don't play with it on. World record might do PRKD. Yeah, it's pretty common for people to do Kraid before Ridley. Unlike in any percent, it's not a huge time loss. The one way it's kind of a time loss is Kraid is a very convenient place to refill supers on the way to Meridia, and you won't have that luxury if you do it before Lower Norfair. There is crowd control for Super Metroid. I believe that's the only Metroid game with crowd control right now. So now we're coming up to our first little mini boss, Bomb Chorizo. Pretty straightforward fight. We're going to shoot him 5 times with my regular beam, and then I'm going to farm the projectiles that he shoots off to get missile drops. And if I do it right, I'll only take some of the drops, so I can shoot enough to get him in the next phase, and then finish him off with the drops I didn't pick up. So there's my 5 shots. But unfortunately I grabbed all of them, so it'll be a little bit of a slower fight. But not too bad. Pretty straightforward. And here's the first energy tank I'm going to pick up, and it's the only one I'm going to have for probably about 10 or 15 minutes. And so since I'm going to do Phantoon first, I'm going to missile these enemies. Usually it's a little faster to run through, but because going to Phantoon early with only 1 energy tank and no suits is kind of dangerous, we want to conserve health here, or else the Phantoon fight could be a little scary. So what I did was I just shot through those pirates and picked up 1 missile drop, and I'll be able to farm a couple more missiles up here so I can get into the early supers room. So just like that, now I have enough missiles. And this is the first sequence break of the game. I'm going to do a mock ball under these gates. Normally you're supposed to have a speed booster to get through here, but with that trick, oops, you can pick up a early super missile pack, which lets us bypass everyone's favorite mini-boss, Spore Spawn. Now this is a crucial place where you need to remember this is not an any % run. Since I'm only allowed to get 10 missile packs in this category, I need to skip the upcoming missile pack by the charge beam. The reason being I'm skipping this one is trying to skip the one at the moat, as you'll see later on, is really difficult unless you're very skilled with doing bomb jumps. So I'm going to go ahead and skip that one, but I will pick up the charge beam. So by having this, it'll let me damage most of the bosses with charge shots, and I won't have to pick up a bunch of ammo to finish the game, which is great for low %. Now we're coming up to Red Tower, so normally in a regular playthrough you'd go down here first and fight Kraid. But once again we're doing Phantoon first, so I'm going to go up Red Tower and do another little sequence break. I'm going to shoot up here to break this block at the very top and wall jump through before it has a chance to respawn. And once I get through these next couple rooms, I will have access to my first power bomb pack much earlier than intended. I might as well start talking about this now. To get into Wreck Ship, usually the game expects you to have Grapple Beam to get across, or even Speed Booster to do a Shine Spark, but I have neither of these items. So I'm either going to have to do one of 2 tricks, one known as the Continuous Wall Jump, and the other the Diagonal Bomb Jump. The Continuous Wall Jump is a frame-perfect jump and do a 2-frame window jump. It's pretty difficult, but you know, a lot of runners at the higher level can get it pretty consistently. And sort of the backup is the Diagonal Bomb Jump, which is trickier than most other kind of bomb jumps you would do. But we'll see what happens. So I'm actually going to align myself up at this yellow door here, and by doing this, when I run through, it gives me the perfect amount of speed to get this frame-perfect jump. And I didn't get the jump, unfortunately, so we're going to have to go for the bomb jump now. Oh. I was a little too far away from that second bomb, so didn't quite propel me. So we'll try it again. That's what it's supposed to look like. It's not too bad, only fell in once. And now we're going to be coming up to Phantoon. This fight is pretty much the same as the any percent fight, but it is a bit more difficult because in any percent you would normally have 15 missiles at this point, and you're going to be using a lot of missiles during this fight. If you don't get good drops, you actually won't be able to get the optimal 2 round, just because you don't have enough. So I'm going to be using the Doppler strategy. Basically what I'm going to be doing is I'll shoot Phantoon with 4 missiles at the start of a round. I'm going to let him swing off screen most of the time, and as he comes back in, I'm going to run into him while shooting my missiles, and effectively this is going to allow me to get more missiles in because it's going to stun him. We did a mid-pattern there. Oh, alright, I messed that up a little bit. We're gonna get a 3 round. But basically by running towards Phantoon as I'm shooting the missiles, it lets me shoot the missiles faster, and it stuns him into place, so I can sort of just continuously shoot him. I have to be careful here, I'm 1 hit away from dying. Luckily, since I was in health bomb range, it gave me a lot of health back. Okay, 1 more round should do it. And there we go. It was a little bit hairy there, but we got through. So yeah, that's a big reason why we conserve health early on in the run, since if you take a couple flame hits or a body hit from Phantoon, it could be death. And now I'm going to pick up my last piece of ammunition for the run, which is the other super missile pack, which is conveniently located right here. Very quick pickup. So this is all the ammo I'm going to have for the game. I'm going to use it on a lot of the bosses, but for the most part, it's going to be charge shots that are going to be doing the bulk of the damage. So we're going to have some really long boss fights, especially with Ridley and Mother Brain. So I'm going to continue through the rest of Wreck's ship and pick up my gravity suit at the end. This room, the attic, is a little tricky. You need to kill all the enemies in this room in order to open the path to proceed. So I'm going to lay a power bomb there at the start to take care of a lot of them, and then use ammunition on the rest of them. It's important that I'm above 120 energy at this point. The next room I'm going to go through is full of spikes that do 60 damage each. And typically you'll get hit twice unless you make a mistake in this room. So I'll have to be a little careful here. And we're good. We're safe for now. So now we get a little cutscene where the bowling Chozo kind of walks us across the spikes and takes us down to the secret gravity room. And so this is where things will get a little bit different from the standard any percent route, since I'm going to be going to Kraid before I go down to lower Norfair. There's the gravity suit. The gravity suit's going to give us the most amount of damage reduction from enemies and things in the environment. It's also going to let us use the gravity jump glitch, which I'll talk about more when we get there. But that's a pretty crucial part to completing this run quickly, as you'll see some rooms with lava and water are much more easy to traverse with the gravity jump. And since I'm going to Kraid right now, I don't need to worry about my supers too much, because as I said, Kraid's area is kind of a good place to refill on your supers. Normally, if I were to be going to Ridley right now, you'd probably want to farm these cack attacks to get some more supers, but it won't really be an issue for me right now. So now we're going to come back the way we came, but this time we're going to head down and head over to Kraid's lair. And since this is low percent, I cannot pick up the spacer beam, which is in the room above me right now, as we don't need it to beat the game. It would help a lot with the boss fights with giving us some extra damage, but we are not allowed to do that. I'm also going to break this tube while I'm here. It's a little faster to break it on the way in like that, so we're going to do it there. And now I'm going to head over to Kraid's lair. To conserve some ammo, I'm actually going to do a power bomb strat here to kill these pirates. Similar to that attic room, we need to kill all the enemies in this room before we can proceed, so all three of those guys need to get killed, as well as Mini Kraid right here. And with that, the door is flashing and I can get through. Oops. And now we're on to Kraid. So Kraid works the same in every other category. I'm going to try to shoot him at a specific point during his stand-up animation, and hopefully stun lock him so I can just pump a bunch of ammo in him and get a quick kill just like that. Yeah, as you can see, I'm super loaded on supers right now, which is good because heading into lower Norfair, especially under the low percent ice conditions, I'm going to need a lot of supers to get through there quickly. So a big reason why you want to come to Kraid early is both to get that various suit, because that's going to allow me to take less damage when I do a gravity jump later on getting into lower Norfair, and also there is conveniently a energy tank in this next room here. So this next energy tank and having the various suit are going to give me a lot of safety when it comes to dealing with lower Norfair. I take a lot of safeties in this run to really make only the boss fights the dangerous parts and not the areas in between. Also, while we're here, we want to pick up the ice beam. It's going to add more damage to our beam, which is going to be very useful in the Ridley fight. We will need it later in order to get into the Botwoon area, so this is the perfect time for us to grab it. I did another mock ball there to get under those falling gates, so again, you're supposed to have the speed booster to get this, but it's faster to use that little trick. Oops. I'm going to freeze these guys so I have enough space to get another mock ball, and I'll slide right under that gate as well. And without having high jump, I'll actually have to bomb jump up here. With high jump, you can clear the jump easily, but we do not need it to complete the game, so not gonna get it. So as we're coming up to Lower Norfair here, you have a choice to go into a farm room to get more supers. I am not gonna do that. And really it'll just slow things down if I get bad RNG with the drops. There's not really too much safety with it. And we're going to be coming up to the lava dive room, and I'm going to be doing the first gravity jump. So gravity jump's a cool trick in this game. If you start a jump inside of a liquid with the gravity suit on, and you pause just as you're doing the jump and take off your gravity suit, you keep the speed of your initial jump. Oops, didn't want to kill him. You keep the speed of your initial jump, but the game slows you down with the suitless physics, so the net result is you're going to do a giant jump when you do this. Oops, I didn't jump. You really want to try to jump as late as you can into pausing the game, because that way it gives you a higher jump. You don't need a huge one to do this one, but that'll be important later for one of the last gravity jumps I do. So with that lets us get up the lava dive room and into Lower Norfair. And had I not had that Varia suit on, I would have way less energy right now, so with that and the extra tank, I'm in pretty good shape to be heading down to Lower Norfair now. And coming up is a room we like to call the worst room in the game. It really lives up to its name in this category. We have a really cool strat that manipulates the enemies in the room and lets us get through pretty cleanly. So I'll just not say anything and you guys can watch. And there it is. Didn't do it perfectly, but it worked out. That's a really beautiful strat. Oh, I even got over that pirate too. That's a really beautiful strat where you kind of dance around the other pirates and focus all your ammo and a charge shot on one specific pirate in order to freeze them mid-air so you can get up that room. Without high jump, getting the wall jump to get up that room is really difficult, and having all these enemies here and low percent does not help, so that's a really awesome strat. And I'm just going to avoid these guys, save some energy. And now coming up to the Ninja Pirates room, I'm gonna have 4 supers heading into their room. It takes 3 supers to kill them, but they also drop supers as a drop. And if I get lucky, the first pirate will drop me enough that I can kill the second one with just supers. If I get unlucky, then he won't give me any, or very many at all, and then I'll have to use charge shots on the rest. But fortunately, he does give me enough supers. And the next one actually gave me a lot of supers too, so we're in pretty good shape. This run has kind of a lot of RNG to it, not like a lot, but with these drops, so before a lot of the major bosses, I'm going to want to have full supers going into them, and these enemies here that I'm farming don't really drop them very often. I'm getting pretty lucky right now. So you can spend a lot of time or you could lose a lot of time just trying to get supers off of these guys. We're looking pretty good so far. Wow. So I filled up my super missiles before my regular missiles. I don't see that all the time. Should just be one more farm. There we go. Now for the Ridley fight, I'm actually going to mix in power bombs as well. I'm going to start off using the Ice Shield special beam attack, and also laying a power bomb. It'll do a decent amount of damage, and I'll also just use the rest of my power bombs right here. There's ways you can incorporate them in the middle of the fight, but I'm not really familiar with those strategies, so I just dump them all at the start like this. But now we're just gonna... Oh, you okay, Ridley? Now we're just gonna have kind of a really long Ridley fight. So what you might not know, since usually the fight's a lot faster in any percent, is Ridley actually has a couple phases. This first phase he's in, he actually will only do this pogo attack until he reaches a certain damage threshold. So for a while you're just going to see him do this attack, and once you see him go for the swoop attack is a sign that you know he's in the next phase. So here we go, he's going for that swoop. Usually the first one's pretty high like that. And this is a very challenging fight in low percent. Ridley does a lot of damage, especially if you hit his tail. And it really takes a lot of practice in order to kind of... Ridley? It takes a lot of practice to be able to sort of read his AI and to be able to react properly to everything he does. As you can see, if he gets into that... Oh man, he's being really mean right now. If he gets into that pogo attack and I lure him into the left corner like this, he actually won't damage me as long as he's pogoing, so that's kind of the strategy if you get this kind of attack from him. You'll notice I haven't used any missiles or super missiles yet, and that's for a very important reason, that the further you get in the Ridley fight as he gets through his phases, he'll actually start speeding up. He'll do his attacks faster and choose which attack to do faster. So I'm going to save all this ammo until the very end so I can sort of avoid that phase as much as possible. Because with the ammo I have right now, it's a little bit more than a third of his total health, so yeah, I definitely want to save that for the more erratic sections of this fight. Once I see the color change, I'm going to count approximately 23 shots, and then I will know I'm good to use my ammo and finish up the fight. There's that color change. Oops. 1 second. Ooh, that was pretty close. I slipped into the acid there for a bit, which was pretty bad, but fortunately we got through. So this isn't an optimal tank to grab, the Ridley tank. This will be my final E-tank. It's more convenient to pick up the Botwoon E-tank later on, but this will make my lower Norfair escape a lot less scary, and I can be a lot more risky with the strats I use. I actually should farm a couple power bombs here. So a lot of these rooms on the way out are very tricky because of the key hunters. It's very difficult to avoid all of them. There's sort of manipulations you can do with the way you move once you enter a room that lets you avoid taking hits, so I'm going to do the best I can. In this next room, if I'm lucky, I won't get hit at all, but I'm kind of expecting to take at least one hit here. So you'll see the way I'm moving through this morph tunnel. It all has a purpose in maneuvering the enemies that are above me right now. So if I did it right, this one will be high like this. And then it's sort of a gamble whether these two are in my way or not, but fortunately they were not in my way. So that'll make this next part even safer than it already was. So in this room, same thing. I'm going to be doing some very specific movement to try to manipulate these guys. Fortunately, that one didn't quite do what I wanted, but I did manage to roll under the second one. And like I said, since I picked up the Ridley tank, even though I got hit a couple times, I still make it out with a lot of energy. So it's a very good safety, grabbing that tank. Unfortunately, because I got health bombed, I actually don't have any supers, so I'm going to have to farm this cack up here really quick. Grab his super so I can get up here. Like I mentioned earlier, you want to have a lot of supers going into Meridia as well, and since I already fought Kraid, I'm not going to have a way to refill from him. So this is the closest farming spot I can get otherwise. Once I max out my supers here, I'll be good to go. There we go. And since I don't have speed booster, I can't go through the frog speedway, so I'm gonna have to go back the way I came. A little wall jump up here. And we're going back up to Brinstar. So since I already opened the tube to Meridia, I can just jump right up as soon as I come in this room. And the Meridia bosses are actually pretty tricky and low percent. Just like Ridley, I'm really only going to have my charge beam shots and my ammo in order to fight these guys. With Botwoon, if I miss any supers, that's going to be a pretty significant time loss, as I'll have to make up the rest of the damage with missiles or charge beam shots, which are very hard to land on Botwoon. Oops, missed that jump. Those are very hard to land on Botwoon late in the fight when he's moving really fast. So I'm going to do another gravity jump here. It works in water just like it works in lava. And I'm going to try to do a wall jump here. Nice, got it first try. You can also gravity jump up there, but it's a little faster if you can get that wall jump in a couple tries. And without speed booster, I'm going to have to do another little trick here to get into Botwoon's room. If you're familiar with Super Metroid Randomizer, you've probably seen this before. It's the Metroid clip with the ice beam. So this Metroid, I'm going to bring him down, freeze him in a very specific position in order to clip through that ceiling. And here's the Botwoon fight. So unfortunately he gave me a really bad pattern that you can't really react to with the place I was standing, so... But he does give me a couple spit patterns and an easy last pattern, so that was still pretty quick. And since I got the Ridley tank, I cannot pick up any more E-tanks, so I'm actually going to have to jump around this Botwoon tank. Like I said, it's a lot more convenient to grab that one, since you'll get a health refill right there, and you don't have to go through that sand. But again, for safety, the Ridley tank really comes in handy, so I'm willing to take the time lost there. And now I'm stuck in the sand. I've been getting pretty good RNG with the super drops so far, so that's pretty good. Now coming up to Draygon. Draygon is probably my least favorite fight in this category. It's pretty tough. The fight really drags on with just ammo. Draygon doesn't have nearly as much health as Ridley, but you don't really get to hit her all the time. A really cool thing about this fight though is, in addition to my charge shots and my ammo, I actually get to use pseudo screws to damage Draygon as well. So in a way, my energy is actually kind of a resource as far as damaging the boss. If you don't know what a pseudo screw is, if you hold the charge beam and do a spin jump, you can actually do damage to enemies, and it does 200 damage regardless of what your beam combo is. Just for reference, my current beam combo does 90 damage with charge shots, so the pseudo screws actually do significantly more than my charge beam right now. And you'll see every time I do this, I take 40 damage from hitting Draygon, so that's kind of what I mean with your energy being an expendable resource for this fight. Oops. And one thing I didn't mention too is I'm using that ice shield, and I know Draygon's going to be swooping in. Each of these particles does the same amount of damage as a charge beam shot, so it's essentially 4 charge beam shots I get every time I land one of those. I'll do another one here. I thought I could end the fight there. Maybe I'll get on the pseudo screw. There we go. It's tough to gauge the health Draygon's at unless you're like meticulously counting. You can tell by how red her belly is how much damage you've done, but you know, it's not a very very good gauge to go off of if you want to be exact. So with that, we are done with all 4 of the G4 bosses, and now it's time to head to Tourian and finish off the game. The Mother Brain fight, much like the Ridley fight, is pretty difficult in low percent. An additional challenge with it is you're going to have to use all your ammo on Mother Brain 1. Well, pretty much all your ammo. So the Mother Brain 2 fight is basically going to be all beam shots, which is going to be a grand total of 200. Now the benefit of the fight is it's not as movement heavy as Ridley's. You're mostly going to be in the corner the whole time and just moving occasionally to dodge attacks. So you know, they're both kind of difficult in different ways. Probably shouldn't have run into him, but that's okay. I'll say in advance too, I probably won't talk very much during the Mother Brain fight, because I'm going to want to keep count of the number of shots I take so I can anticipate when her catch-up beam attack is going to be coming. Oh my. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. And this is the last gravity jump I'm going to do in the run. This one is actually really tight. I don't know how many frames you have to do the jump, but you basically have to do the jump at the last moment possible before the game pauses. So that was a pretty good jump. If you jump not too much sooner than that, you won't get enough height, and it's a really slow fall back down to get another attempt in. So luckily I got that on my first try. I'll actually farm these guys just to be safe. Some of these Tourian strats are a little scary with low health. I'll actually farm this guy too. A good safety you can take is to refill at the ship up here, but you know, for the sake of what I normally do in a run, I'm going to skip it. You're going to want to have all your ammo refilled by the time you get through the Metroid rooms, and the Metroids are known for being pretty stingy with the super missile drops. So going in there, I will be going in there with 7 missiles and 1 super missile. It's not very much, so hopefully, you know, I keep getting the good RNG I've been getting, and we won't have to do any extra refills. But that 10 missile and 10 super missile count is pretty much the bare minimum you can do to finish off Mother Brain 1. So every shot is going to count when I get to that part. You can miss 1 regular missile, but any more than that or a super missile and that's a rip run. So we'll have another little cutscene as we watch the G4 statues disappear. They'll unlock the way down into Tourian. I will say, I really love the Mother Brain 2 fight in this category. It's very long, and it's pretty stressful when you're on a good pace. But it's really exciting when you actually get through the fight. And it's just very satisfying in general to complete these low percent bosses under these kind of conditions. I'm gonna do a little safety strat. And we're coming out 10 and 3. That's still not very good. That's much better. Okay, we're good now. The health coming out of here doesn't matter because I'm not going to get baby skips, so I'm just going to end up refilling my health anyways, but the ammo is the really important part that we're looking at. So yeah, that's perfect. Like I said, we're not going to be able to do baby skip. I think you can do it without high jump and speed, but it's pretty difficult and it would save very little time even if we could do it, so which is not a good idea. I'm gonna be damaging myself down too, hopefully not killing myself as I did in one of my practice runs this week. And the reason is the baby Metroid drains you down to 1 health before releasing you. So by damaging yourself down beforehand, you sort of skip a good bit of that animation. And actually with this ammo count, I can't just straight up go to Mother Brain right now. There's 3 locked doors ahead of me, 2 red doors, and a Ghidorah. So what I'm gonna do is open up this red door with my missiles, and also open up this Ghidorah with my missiles. And I'm gonna go back, refill my energy, and refill my regular missiles as well. And that'll give me that 1 missile leeway that I talked about earlier. I'm also going to have to do the Zeb skip. It's kind of a weird trick. By freezing one of the Rinkas in the place it spawns and spin jumping on it, the game prioritizes me clipping onto the frozen enemy rather than the ground I'm standing on. So it sort of pulls me into the Zebetite, and with iframes that'll actually allow me to jump through the Zeb completely. And the game actually doesn't spawn the next Zebetites until you destroy the one that's currently in front of you, so now I can just jump through all these open Zebs. And luckily the turret's choosing not to snipe me today. And we're on to Mother Brain 2, the final gauntlet of low percent. 200 charge shots. I'm going to open with some ice shield attacks, and like I said, I'm not going to talk very much since I need to keep count here. So I hope you guys enjoy the fight. You can keep count at home if you want. There's 15, 16. It should be halfway now. Should be getting catch-up beams pretty soon here. And there it is. So the reason I'm counting is because after you land 151 shots, Mother Brain will start using this catch-up beam attack, and at minimum, that attack's going to do 100 damage to me, and I cannot fall below 301 health to survive her final rainbow beam attack. So knowing exactly when that catch-up beam is going to come out is very important for surviving this fight. If it comes at an unexpected time and it hits you, then that's game over. So from that point where the catch-up can start coming out, it's only 49 more shots. Counting's not super important at this part. I can just kind of wait until I see the cutscene start. And that's it. Another thing you can do is you can also incorporate more of those ice shield special beam attacks, usually during that catch-up phase. That's not a strat I really have practiced right now, so I decided not to do it. And I had a damageless Mother Brain fight, so you know, glad I didn't do that. You might have noticed during the fight when Mother Brain was dropping her meatball bomb attacks, sometimes I was landing in the middle of these and I actually wasn't taking damage. The reason why that happens is because when you have the gravity suit, the amount of damage that you take from the center of that explosion, because of, I think, a rounding error in the game, it actually rounds the damage down to 0. Otherwise, you take 20 damage if you get hit by the explosions, but landing right in the center of them like I was doing prevents you from taking damage. So overall, you know, that went pretty smooth for the most part. I almost died at Phantoon, but yeah, we won't talk about that. Also almost died at Ridley, but we won't talk about that either. We'll just talk about my damageless Mother Brain fight. How's that? Mother Brain 3, very straightforward, like in every other category. Without high jump, I'm actually going to jump a little closer and get right in their face with it. There's no fancy horizontal, diagonal shots here, just diagonals right to the face. And that is it. Now I just need to escape the planet, and I will be done. Without Speed Booster, I'm not going to be able to take that little shortcut in the second escape room, or the third escape room, I guess. And I also won't be able to spark up the climb like you would normally see, so I'll be wall jumping up there. Other than that, it's, you know, pretty much the same old escape you've seen. Yeah, no shortcut for me today. Gotta go the intended way. Kill some of these enemies so they don't knock me down as I'm trying to wall jump. And here we go, we're back now at the climb. The little left side climb that you never get to see. You get to see it in the low percent. Oops. Pulling a Leo right now. I don't think there's any save or kill incentives here, so I'm gonna kill him. Sorry if you wanted me to save him. And that is it. We are done with Super Metroid Low Percent Ice. 14%. Now we get to see my game time and the credits and all that stuff. And yeah, that's it. I'm sure SpeedGaming will want to set up the next runner soon, so let me just say now, thank you to Feasel and the rest of the SpeedGaming staff that are putting on this marathon. I participated in it before, and this year it's been a fun time doing it. And I really like getting to show off this category. It's one of my favorite in the games. And if you're interested in Super Metroid speedrunning, look up Super Metroid speedrunning wiki, or go to wiki.supermetroid.run. You can find our Discord server, a lot of resources on the wiki itself. We have a really friendly community. Everyone's always willing to help, learn all these crazy categories, low percent, RBO, any percent, hundo, all of it. So yeah, thank you again for letting me show this off. And yeah, I'll just let them take it from here. Thanks, guys.